Yo, what is good, stream? Yo, we are back. Y'all probably wondering where I've been. Um, yo, I just took, I took a little bit off, trading, you feel me? We're on a new firm right now. We are currently on, a Lucid account. We just switched over to Lucid. We're back on TradingView. So, yeah, there's a lot of new stuff that, we are exploring, those last top step accounts I had, I blew them joints. I ain't even gonna lie. Feel me? I'm just, like I said, I'm trading a little bit more aggressive, but just with this new switch and this new, like, everything, I kind of feel like it's gonna make me, a lot more patient with my trading and, you know, just to become more like, just of who I need to be while I'm trading and shit. Not just because of a prop firm, but, you know, more so because of just like the rules, how everything works and stuff like that. You know, I won't feel like I'm rushing to be a challenge because the bills come in and shit like that, like, and when it doesn't really matter, it's just more so like, I feel as if, this shit right here is, it's one of those switches, like, for sure. One of those switches that definitely we're waiting on for sure. I've been waiting on, doing something like this. And, we finally came to that, conclusion that that's what we're gonna do. And, you know, we are definitely back. So right now we are on Lucid. We are currently, currently first day for me. So we're back on TradingView. Got our chart, got everything charted out that we want to see. And, with that, we're going to trade patiently. This is definitely, it's new. So I'm back on this all over again. I'm excited for this. Like I said, it's something that I feel like this switch we've been waiting on this switch for a little bit. It just kind of like still kept making the decision to buy, certain accounts. And, I'm just like, nah, bro, I gotta stop wasting my bread. And, you know, end up going this route. Cause like this route with Lucid, I feel like, oh shit. With Lucid, I feel like, you know, they're setting you up to win. I don't feel like that's a top step, not necessarily, but they're setting you up to win. And then also I could use my trading view all over again. So my opinion, like that shit's crazy. And to me that's clean. Like if I could use trading view and just, trade, I'll take that shit over anything pretty much. So we're pretty much here. We got everything charted. I don't really gotta do too much more talking. But just price start developing. So we can start getting a little understanding of what we want to do. You know, we got a previous day New York low down here. We got resting equal lows down here. Can I like anticipate a sell off? You know, I can't really say that. So that's London low down there. So we have New York low, London lows down there. Price could easily would want to slide to. Price can manipulate up into this 1 hour. Then we start to get more of a sell off, or we can start to see that retrace back up into this. See now my fib on this is a lot different. I gotta drag it forward. Yeah, which I mean, just looking at price how it is right now, if this 4 hour really wants to hold, I could expect slight little move, back up into this 4 hour. And I like that though. I like that, bias stronger than us selling all the way back down, I feel like that would make a little bit more sense. So with that, like that just kind of like confirms my bias a little bit more. Um, all I'm waiting is for a change to really get put in, and you know, I would take a confident long to London high and then the top of that fair value gap, but we are waiting. Um, as you can see, ES did not fill this 15 minute, so that is equal lows right there in the SMT. But we have to just see how validated, how it gets validated. Like if we want to change in the state out of that, then you know I most likely would take that. But if we don't, then we just gotta wait. Like we had a sell side taken right here, internal low taken right there, and like this is a strong move right here. Where's this line up? The line's up like a little bit above, so this lines up with a 15 minute up here. The two, and the four lines up, a little bit with a high, and then highs over here. So this is to me like this fib retracement that's like super clean, and I could see us want to run there, but I'm not even targeting like all of that. So 8:30 news, boom. Yeah, so we take out this news low right there. Bam, you know. Let me create equal lows here. So it's a lot of just like hesitantness, like playing around. Just 3 minute, we put a change in. If anything, I'd like to see us pull back here. But again, I want to see us pull back there. Like my thing is, I want confirmation, and I want to be able to feel confident in the trade I'm taking. So that's how I'm coming now. Like if I'm not confident in the trade I'm about to take, then I'm not gonna put it on. If I'm confident, I like what I see. I'm putting that trade on. I'm putting it on the size, and taking one stab at it. Like that's why I'm here now. Like just to give myself one stab at this. Nothing more, nothing less. I just want to take this, all of this trading shit like hella patient now. So one stab is pretty much what's gonna do it for me. I don't really see the point to, continue to just like keep on going, keep on trying to like make an effort at something that really just ain't there. Sometimes some shit just ain't there. And, we get very caught up thinking it's there. And I think that's been my problem like lately, and it really is like a couple easy fixes, and you know shit doesn't really matter after that. You got to be able to just fix it and move on. You can't get caught up on what it is. You have to acknowledge it, see what the problem is, see what's wrong, see what's going on. But right after that, like you got to be able to like let go and move and fix problems super quick. So that's again right where our 2 minute change does not get validated. So yeah, 3 minute, we put a 3 minute change in. But here's where you will want to see this inverse hold. So if this inverse stops holding, if that inverse stops holding after we put a 3 minute change in, what sense does this model make? What sense does it really make? Because it's like we continue to trade back down, right? Into something that's not, it's not showing efficiency, like it's not holding. It's like, oh, we still possibly want to go lower. But if that holds, right, which it gets filled fully, ends up holding, we pulled back to it, the work's already done on this, the work is done here. But this is where, like I said, I wanted to see more confirmation. So I wanted to see more legs, a 2 minute gets invalidated. Boom, we pull back into it. If we trade out of it and put a change in, I'm long. Stop loss can go under this, and I can take my confident stab. But that goes with having to see this 2 minute be validated though. So a lot of times we get caught up on one time frame, the other seeing the other thing. So that's what I'm trying not to do. And an ES should take this first because we put in the SMT. So this change in the state, see what we got here, add market. My stop loss goes here. TP goes, London high. Put that change in as valid. I'm gonna buy 4 here. I'm gonna keep my stop at the low. So I'm adding here. I added here confidently. Just anticipating, a change in the state. This low here is very, very key because we put in the SMT, right? We manipulated lower. In order to go higher, we have to go lower first. We manipulated lower. Liquidity has already been swept. SMT gets put in, right? A change in the state gets put in after that. We validate a change in the state as well. So everything that I wanted to see happen, played out. So I'm in with my confidence setup, my confidence stab. Stop loss is right there. Could cancel that order, I'm pretty sure, yeah. And then I want to see how I could drag TP or like stop loss. Let's just go right back to this. We do want to have a stop loss. We're gonna keep it under this low, so right here at this body. That's the only thing I gotta like low-key figure out. Yeah, that's the only thing I gotta figure out though. But if I do, when I do, yeah, I just don't get that shit. I'm not even gonna lie. Regular 50K. Just gotta have that shit. I really don't get that shit though, I ain't gonna lie. Like stop loss is down here, so I'm not like tripping, right? But add order, limit. Oh yeah, limit. Okay. Alright, so now I completely just fucked up everything. So give me a second. I don't know how much I lost on that trade. I lost about like $70. But I think I gotta put a limit. Limit buy. Oh yeah. I gotta put a limit, and then boom, get rid of that. It's like we sell down, we're gonna buy all of our six cons back. Like a full stop loss. This actually helps me too, because it's like I'm not focused on the money. I'm just focused on what the trade is itself, and that right there is like something I think I really do need. So we got that right there as well. I do want to see something go into this, this 4 hours. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna here's what I'm gonna do. Cause I still feel like I'm fucking this shit up. I still feel like I'm fucking this shit up. Okay, so I'm gonna add an order. Stop by. Oh, okay. Cancel that order real quick. We're gonna add an order real quick. We're gonna stop. Sell stop. Now if this takes me out of my trade, though, I'm gonna be like upset. See, I feel like it'll take me out of my trade, right? So I'm just gonna let this shit run. Manage my stop loss, manage my TP, just for this trade. I'll figure it out. Um, it is a little confusing though. Like I haven't used this shit in a minute, so. But like I said, I want to see some come up into this hourly high up here. I don't want to really see us manipulate inside of this 1 hour too heavy. I feel like if we do, then like I said, that other prediction that I had was, it's still a little validated, but I do want to figure out what I was trying to say though. That's the only thing I'm really trying to figure out. Like I can't just drag TP like how I used to. So, you know, it's like how do I get that order, up here? Like, is it? I'm pretty sure it's just like a market, a market. I'm feeling like it's a limit. Like I put a sell limit up there. I'm in a buy order, sell it all back. I think that's exactly what it would be. Um, like I said, you know what? Like we're gonna just do it. Like I don't want to do it. Like I said, I really don't want to do it just to mess up like the order at any cost. But I think I still gotta figure that out. So market open about a couple seconds here. So NQ is starting to get that pull through, like that rip. 9:30 opens, and I do want to see like I know that London high right here is a consistent and like a very very like strong draw on liquidity. So whatever I do, I'm just gonna make sure that I keep that in mind, and I just don't hold back from TP. We gotta let the market manipulate. We gotta let it open. Still send orders in either direction. Even though, like I said, I want to see higher. We're just looking at this moment. So like we have a break even trade though. You know, like if our trade were to go back down here, we're gonna close out. We're just waiting for more displacement. more reasoning to go higher. So again, I was confident. I like the SMT that we put in. Once SMT got put in and validated with the change in the state, then that was pretty much it for me to, enter. I like how I recognized this 3-minute change of state getting put in first and what had to happen for it to even be valid. I think that's something recognizing a lot more is, it's important. It's very important in trading, because like if you want to group your models together, for me, like I want to group the models together. Like I want to see why this 3-minute change is also going to be, important to the 2-minute change. Well, if we change this next candle, I don't want to see us come back and trade lower than this. Because technically on the 1-minute, this whole pullback is, gaps. And then, all just other stuff. It's gaps getting put in. It's all kinds of shit, right? So I'm trying to see, right? Let me go here real quick. Bam. I want to see this 3-minute respect, this inverse, the fair value that gets invalidated. So, boom, 2-minute finally puts in that change right there, and we pull back, and then, we just start ripping. So, other than that, that's pretty much like why I took the trade. We currently are, kind of trolling around, some buy side liquidity up here. About to take away. Same thing on NQ, just trolling a little bit, but again, that's not really what you want to see in these predicaments, but holding prices, what you need to, be able to do in these situations. So gotta be able to hold price. Yeah, this is a very strong retrace, and like I said, I don't really care what happens here. We could really do whatever in this point in time. I don't care. I have a break even trade on. So if we come back to, my order and where I got filled at, then let me trading real quick, executions, positions, oh yeah, positions. I'm trying to do the arrows, execution marks, bam, yeah, get those up. Yeah, so like I said, just learning how to hold through a lot of that's going to be the most powerful. Like I have a strong bias, a strong confident draw where I want to see the market go. Then just because like one thing that happens, like, that can't just invalidate everything, like boom. I wouldn't even want to go short if we didn't take out, a liquidity level, and I know this from just trading and trading and trading, right? I wouldn't even want to go short without that happening. So just seeing a little bit of noise, a little bit of shit to disrupt the trade a little bit, that happens, I'm on a 1-minute time frame. I'm gonna see more candles, like you gotta be able to just sit there, let the trade just do this thing, like strong confident draw. You look at our session, we got New York high, right? We got London high up here. And then we have a huge wide open, fair value gap that we still have yet to fill, and manipulate. So it's gonna be a second, and you gotta just be able to have confidence and hold. We're inside of a 15-minute right here. Trying to see what fair value gap this is. I don't know why I still haven't marked out. Oh, 1 hour. We're in the act of running this 1 hour in the next couple minutes, 30 minutes or so. So like 2 ticks away. Yeah, like a tick away. So from that's just liquidity, I have marked out. So that doesn't even mean I was gonna trade trade that rate, I was still holding. Personally, I was still holding for this London high up here. I feel like that's a bit more of a confident draw, generated with reason, a lot of resting, low resistance that I want to see. And I would like to see that get flushed. So, like, that's the only reason I'm holding for there. We invalidated at 30-minute right here, trading back into it. Trading inside of this 5-minute right there. We're inside of a 3-minute. We're holding still. So, the only reason I'm out of this trade is, if we really invalidate, we're pulling back to this 5-minute change right here. Like I said, I'm not giving it, I'm not giving it everything though. I'm not giving it all, like, it has to, bam, stop me out and I'm out. You feel me? Like, that's really what I gotta do. I'm not gonna close. We pull back to a 10-minute change in the state right here. So, and again, like, you walk away with a little small loss on the day. That's better than anything. That's what I told myself, like, taking this patient, I'm accepting everything, I don't really care. So it looks like this 4-hour starting to hold. Exactly what we wanted to see. I want to see price, get up into this 1 minute, not play around. It's the most important. Is that we get up into this one and we run it. Put a change in right there. But then if we don't, like I said, we have this model playing out. It's already setting up, Fail to take out this high. Bam. Change already gets put in. 1 minute. Pull back to it. Tap this 1 minute. And we're selling back off. Like, so we already have, like like a little lower time frame model playing out already. So it doesn't really matter, what I want. So I'm just gonna close that out. Let something else make more sense. Like I said, this makes a lot of sense to me. So if I don't see anything that, still has like the same, reasoning behind that, then cool. Cool. And Q puts in a nice 5 minutes change in the state. It's about to, in a nice model. It's about to put a 3-minute model into right here. Clean change. What are we doing though? We're respecting all of these, these gaps that are in place. So we're respecting that 15-minute, 2 15 minutes actually. Small one right there. So, and it looks like we want to get a strong, rejection out of it. So we still got this SMT. And we just manipulate lower. So we're just gonna see what happens here. We get a little tiny stop out, down about, maybe $100. Down about 107, yeah. So that's how far we came to that liquidity level. Neither of them took it out. ES still hasn't taken this low. Took this low right here to the left of us though. S&T is still in place. So 5 minute change gets put in. Excuse me. So 5 minute change gets put in. 3 minute change is about to get put in. I want to see what happens right in this time. Right here is so key. Because if we put a change in out of this, and this S&T still holds, and that was like, just manipulation to go lower, then I'm gonna be long again. Right back on ES. And that's exactly what we do. So I don't even freaking know why I didn't put that in. But we put in this 1 minute change. And I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait very patient here. If we didn't follow through with NQ. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Like, besides this little 5 minute change and a pullback, that doesn't really look like. It just doesn't look like nothing, to be real. Market opens, we fake out liquidity to the to buy side, and then boom. We're not really getting a crazy sell off, but this shit really ain't nothing. I'm glad I didn't put that size on for, not no reason, but just because, like, ain't shit really happening. Like, I would have liked for this 10 minute, to play out that little model. But we pull back to a change, look, respect, fill this gap. No 2 minute. About the three. No 3 minute gets put in. We're not putting in any displacement lower. So, and we're running that gap immediately. So, and Q putting in a little bit, of displacement. Just a little bit. But this 15 minute looking like it's going to hold. So, we came back into the 15, but still held right here, as you can see. So yeah, it's a sell stop and a sell limit. Okay. But yeah, I mean, putting that on, just seeing, how we looked in this moment, still bullish, still have a confident bias. This will be the last trade. I'll take a small loss over, you know, seeing my model and then not trading it. I'll take that any time of the day, you know, only down about 100. So with that, we'll be down about like 350, which is confidence size over in the course of 2 trades. And, I'm just, at the end of the day, I'm just not complaining. It looks clean. We still continue to follow what we wanted to see, like still manipulate it lower. And if you think why we manipulate lower, especially at this point in time, then we have to in order to go, back higher. We got our order heading towards, this 4 hour. And I look at that as well, right? Take my equilibrium. EQ lines up with that 4 hour perfectly. So it's a sell stop and a sell limit is what I'm looking for. And then again, I can tell you that stop loss up just a tiny bit, but I do like it at the SMT. Has reasoning, I'm not putting it nowhere other than it doesn't have any reason. So I'm gonna start looking for, these orders should start being met. Even this, super clean, a little 1 to 2, putting on confident risk. I like this stuff. I like where I'm targeting. It's really just the top of the 4 hour. I can take, stop loss a tiny bit, a couple ticks above, confirm that. So now, just smalling up, lessening up the loss a tiny bit. And, you know, order is right there. And we're just gonna let this rock out. Like there's no rush to get in or out of the trades. You gotta let them play out. They gotta have development, So again, we put in another 3-minute change right up there. And if you look at the 5-minute, looks like we're gonna put in a 5-minute change as well. I do want to see one of these liquidity levels, be taken. At least have a reason to sell back off, right? So literally just gonna be waiting, Super, super tough ass trade though. Can't even lie. My opinion, I like this trade a lot though. London high, that is probably where I'll take off, majority. I'm gonna put so I guess it's a limit. So a limit sell for, I'm gonna click it. All right. So it's a sell limit. Okay, so confirm. We're gonna sell 4 there. Cancel that right there. And then we're gonna put a limit, and then a sell for 1. So if I'm gonna buy, it has to be sell, stop, or a sell limit, regardless. And then bam. So we're gonna have most of our, position coming off here. I look around a 1 to 2, 1 to 2.2, something like that. And then a little runner up into this 4 hour. Little runner up into the 4 hour. But other than that, like I said, even this trade alone right here, with the fill I got, super, tough. And that's why we're going to take off majority of our position at this London high. And then we're going to let the rest just run to, this 4 hour, just higher time frame, more higher time frame bias trade. And that's like what I've been trying to have a lot of my, trades based upon, just a higher time frame, because that's what it is, Higher time frame is always going to be right. And, you know, if we have a 4-hour gap right here, I'll take out this equilibrium. Put this right. So here, this is what I'm trying to explain. Right? So we know we have our EQ up there. We're cool. So now we finally get this flush through. What's it called? Just a liquidity level, and that doesn't mean anything. That simply just means, you know, we could tighten up our stop loss a tiny bit. You know, just leave it here maybe. We're not going break even, you know, just yet, just because still has a lot of time to manipulate, right? So higher time frame. I gotta clear all this stuff. Higher time frame. What do? We rebalance price, you know, from this move to this move. We rebalance price inside of a 4-hour. And then we have London high as the 4-hour, the beginning of this 4-hour. That's London high. If you look right there, London high. So London high is literally at this 4-hour. And then we got an external, you know, huge 4-hour. So if this 4-hour candle is right, not even like it has to be quote unquote right, but if it's like higher time frame wants to manipulate lower to the 4, and then we want to pull back, you know, and then, you know, we want to be long up until this area right here, and that's what we're gonna do. Higher time frame though, you know. So lower time frame, you're probably gonna see a lot more of, you know, sell models looking like they're getting put in, and that's kind of what I'm understanding. A lot more sell models are gonna look like they're getting thrown in, and boom, what do we get? You know, multiple sell models. You know, ES, NQ, they're both showing hella signs of, you know, a sell model. So, but if you look, like, we put in that SMT, and that SMT is everything. You know, that you seeing that SMT get put in is everything that you have to be, you know, not everything you have to be focused on, but it's majority of what the trade's gonna look like though. And that's what I'm starting to understand. So boom, you know, we, like I said, London high is that 4-hour. So like if price wants to manipulate higher, right? We're gonna get into that 4-hour regardless. You know, it has to. And that's exactly where our order rests. So, you know, both of these areas got taken. And, you know, now we're just looking to see a 4-hour get manipulated here too. And that's, excuse me, that's London high as well. So just super, you know, a super confident reasoning on why I took the trade. So it all makes sense. We got the displacement that, you know, we'd like to see even in this trade. So order filled right there. And then now we will go, you know, break even. I don't even have a sell stop. We're probably up a little bit. Count balance, so we're up about, still have one con on. But again, we're letting that run. And then sell stop. We're gonna just cancel that order, I guess. But we're gonna let, you know, majority of that run. So beautiful trade at the end of the day, you know. But here, let me just get this sell stop one, drag this. Stop loss. I just want to see what it looks like. Stop loss would be about $25 right there. It's really not the worst. Sell stop. And you just leave it like that. And again, look, we're looking for London high to get manipulated on NQ as well. We're trying to see that, you know, strong follow through from both of these indexes, not just one of them. So we are looking for, you know, that exact same reasoning on both of these charts. So now I gotta do this real quick, and then I just gotta put the style, the line is black, because I love to do this part right here, and I just leave this as my macro line. So just figuring it out a little bit, at the same time, as well as, you know, still like treating this shit the same. It's all the same at the end of the day. So we still had like this high get manipulated right up here, and NQ yet to do it, but which one's gonna take it first based upon the lagging index? ES was gonna take this high first, or it should, because we failed to take out these lows. So that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to find that little standard deviation move and look at that too. That 2 to 2.5, it lines up perfectly with this 4 hour, the beginning of this 4 hour. So, and then ES, I said yes, EQ, a little bit in the middle of this 4. So like my targets, I feel like my targets are super on point, I feel like where I was targeting, very accurate, and it's gonna take a little bit for us to get that high though, and I know that already. So I'm not even, like tripping about that. So I'm gonna put this right here, sell limit right there. Just have pretty much a break even trade on. We're already up, no need to even touch the profits. And like I said, that's just consistent trading, and like that's exactly how I said I'm coming on this account. I'm not coming on here risking like, hella bread and trying to make all that shit in one day. That shit it's not how I even trade, Like I felt like I trade the most consistent is that exactly. So it's just by putting on the right size, walking away knowing like I took the right trade as well. So we're gonna put that money sign, that's for my standard deviation right here. The 2 to 2.5. Always do that. And then just take a screenshot of my trade. And at the end of the day, just a beautiful trade. So, I was already down like 100. Wasn't like tripping though. Like when you put on the right size, and that's where I realized when you put on the right size, you could take a lot of banger trades and have way more confidence. Because you're not like over risk. You're not thinking like, oh, what if this shit does fail? Like it's like, oh, okay, well if this fails, then I'm gonna find a reasoning, why it did. And that's exactly what I did. Like if you look at every time frame, I'm looking at why are we putting in a change here? And then why is NQ putting in that change? And then all of it was for that reasoning to have, that dip lower just for this 2 to 2.5 lineup in the same exact spot, And we're gonna meet this too, regardless. We're gonna meet that too. That too always will get met. Doesn't really matter when. So this was just, super clean of a trade. We're looking for that, like I said, that 4 hour to fully get filled. And that's exactly what it looks like it's going to do. So just full close the position. Already touched the standard deviation. Super clean. Yeah. Order. Trying to see. So made about like 560 on that trade. Already got the screenshot, So yeah, like I said, just like why, like I want to go back and just explain it real quick because it's like our word. NQ's putting in this change at this time, and let's jump to. I already got this, so I'm gonna get rid of that. Let's jump to this 5 minute, right? And it's like, oh shit, like yes as well, but it's no displacement through. It's just a little kind of close, and then boom, what we get, instant candle right back up, right? Now we still know we have this low that had an SMT from this move, because I was in this trade, and if I put my stop at this SMT right here, I would have been in that trade the whole entire time, But that's not where my trade was. That's not what I did. So when I get stopped for that, like, a little bit after, it's just kind of just, coming that close to TP, I'm good. I'm gonna think to myself, like what the, like what the hell, really? Shit, just playing around, but like I said, higher time frame, like if we want to go higher, we're gonna see a lot more sell models lower time frame. So from when market opens, we're gonna start seeing like that little sell model get put in just to manipulate. Like all that is for complete manipulation. And then boom, like every single time frame, putting in a fucking sell model. Change, pull back, 3 minute. Change off that candle, pull back, but boom, nah, we ran that joint, 1 minute. Change up here, and like old me, old me, where I'm seeing that and I'm shorting now. I'm like, yo, we failed to take liquidity, and then boom, and I'm shorting, and I'm like, shit, like we probably gonna come. Like, nah, higher time frame, man. That's all I'm telling myself in the back of my head. I'm just like, all right, word, what's the higher time frame telling me though? Like, are we gonna really come down to New York, old previous day New York low, like last week? You feel me? Or not even last week, like a couple of days ago, tweaking. Are we gonna do that? Probably not. You know, like on a real note, probably not. Right? So if I'm really sitting here thinking like, if we're not gonna do that, then I know the lower time frame is gonna show me a lot more sell models, and what that is gonna try and tell me, excuse me, however patient I am, slash however patient I can stay, is that's gonna be my reward. And look at the 2.5 off of that final manipulative move lower. Bam, look at the two. We need it. The bodies are under it. And that's why I just fully closed, because like we're gonna come to that 4 hour probably and EQ, but just gonna walk away with my profits. Like we hit the two, and like that's a freaking that's a massive reason to just, all right, where I'm taking out this trade. Like one of these indexes hit the two, I'm out. So like I was saying though, boom, sound model just to put that SMT in one more time. So this means whoever was long all the way up in here, stop loss here, even stop loss here at this low. Everybody who had their trade right there like that, bro, they got stopped. And that's exactly what the market's trying to do. Market makers know they're coming to take those people out. What happened with that 3 minute inverse? Remember that 3 minute inverse? Damn, like nigga, that shit's still holding. It's still holding, but guess what? They're gonna come and try to stop everybody out that they can stop out. So if you can like, for me, I'm already out the trade. So I'm like, yo, it's either $100 loss on the day or a possible, re-entry. And as soon as I start seeing this and this SMT holding, respecting, like, bro, I want to see this leg displaced. Like, I don't want this SMT. Look how close we are. I don't want this shit to stay open. I want to, if I really want to target lower, I don't want that to stay open. And guess what? Look at both of the indexes. What is right there as well? You group everything up. You just keep adding to the story. SMT inside of a bullish 15-minute time frame. So if that bullish SMT and that bullish 15-minute fair value gap hold, like so in here, guess what? We're gone. Like we are gone. And what do we get? We get a beautiful just buy model all the way up to buy side. And London high, that was my real consistent, confident draw. And that's exactly where I took it to. I took it a little bit higher to, the two. And I think that's, I'm proud. I'm glad that I, took off majority and let some run for, a little bit more. Not that I want more, but just, for the practice of it. So that's all for the practice, like I was saying. So that's pretty much going to be it on the day. Pretty consistent trade though. Like, I took 2 stabs. Excuse me. We're trying to we're trying to figure that order shit out though. Like we are definitely trying to figure the orders out. So once we get, the hang of it more and, we get more consistent with that, then it's Gucci. We're not tripping. So, other than that, that's going to be the stream. I hope you all enjoyed. Like I said, I'm going to be back every single day, 9:30. Same old, new firm, new everything. Like, bro, we're excited. We're bringing back content. You feel me? Like, them little breaks, they're definitely needed, though, for sure. Especially training. Like, this shit, it's a lot. It really is a lot. And, you know, like I said, I'm trying to make this shit really happen with this trading shit. I'm trying to show people, I'm not trying to prove to people I could care less about that. But I'm just trying to show people like what doing the right thing looks like, focusing, having your head on straight can, really take you in trading. And I realized that shit, young. So with that being said, hope you all enjoyed. Catch y'all till tomorrow. Stay safe. And then yeah, that's pretty much it. So thank y'all for watching.